And we are back, folks. Another edition of the Monday morning quarterback film study with that man they call DG. See, he came in. He said, "Listen, we got to do the telestrations remote this week, but I'm doing my own damn telestration because listen. This is the thanks. This is the thanks we had. I was making sure my man could give out his turkeys because I was proud he was giving out the turkeys. Came with
like Nino Brown, baby.
and he was like, "Man, why my telestrations look like Al Borges and Van?"
Why are there circles at the end of arrows as if we don't know who he throws the ball to? What are we doing?
See, why don't we have convention where all y'all do use the same like dash lines for routes, dash lines for man sticks, right? Circles.
Because Borges' telestrations, firstly, take way too long. Secondly, they're terrible. They're terrible. And now he knows a lot of football, and it does give you information. But as far as the aesthetics of it, nobody wants to watch them. They're terrible. And you can tell him I said it because I know he's a hater and he don't watch our show.
Yeah, I know he watches you. He watches you for sure.
Oh, of course, because he be learning. That's what he's doing. He's coming to learn, really. Or it's one or two things he's coming to learn, which is probably not true. And the second thing is he's coming to try and see if I'm wrong on anything. And I want to put my chest out and put my head nice and high and knowing that he's watched them and he ain't attacked me yet. He actually gave me a pat on the back a few times. So, you know.
He has. All right.
Trust me, though. Don't let it confuse you. He is waiting for me to be wrong so he can talk to me about it. Oh,
all
man,
right.
he can't wait.
We don't have a lot of plays this week, but we have some compelling plays. Yeah. And then we have a look ahead to the Big Ten championship.
The look ahead is...
Devin wanted ample time to talk about Michigan, Iowa, but we're going to give you some real, live, certified.
Well,
be the wrong word.
The one thing I want to say is there are a lot of people. Obviously, we had last week the guy who says, "Oh, he's just not as good," and whatever. And you don't have these big gaudy stats against Ohio State. And it's like, oh yeah, whatever. Maybe he's not ready for the next level and things like that. But in some critical moments, he made some critical throws that are NFL throws. There's no question about it. NFL windows. And so I want you to remember that in high school, windows, guys are wide open usually. Yeah, right. And even sometimes in the college level, when you can have a really good play caller and designer of plays, you can get some guys wide open. But for the most part, you got some the windows are small, right? They're not huge, not tiny, but they're small windows. And then at the next level, right, in the NFL, those windows become here, right? You don't have much space to make throws, and we saw a couple of these in this game, a couple of windows that are very small. He fits it in there on critical downs, and it's the reason they won the game.
All right. Before we get started, as I always say, listen, we don't own this footage. I make it clear.
Hey, Sam, we do own a lot of stuff, though. We own these behind me. You own the jerseys behind you. Yeah, I don't know. You know, you got to do what you got to do, you know. But you go ahead.
Yeah, man. We own
the footage, though. We own the footage.
We use the footage strictly for your entertainment, education, and edification, folks. That's it.
Threes.
No monetization, no sponsorship, no advertising at all. But if you want to help fund these film studies, because you know DG, his eyewear, I mean, it costs a pretty penny. You got to understand. The young man, has to travel in style everywhere he goes. I know this for a fact. I'll tell you how I know coming up.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm not about to play with you today, dude.
Right. I mean, the man's footwear. If you see the man's footwear, every time he comes in, did you see the man's shoes? I'm just telling you.
I mean, the boy got his own shoes.
That is right. So all you have to do to help continue to fund these film studies, so you can be an educated fan. See, that's the thing. You can be an educated fan. No one's asking you to be a coach or a player. Just be an educated fan. That's what you get from this. If you want to keep being educated, then help us fund the film study. See that PayPal link right there at the top of the comment section? Click that link. Don't think just because it's the end of the season, we don't need to do that. Yes, you do. Click that link. Same thing in the description. We make it very easy for you to find. Now, I got to tell
you. Hold on, Sam. I got one thing. And I've talked to you this, and I don't see why we don't put it out there. I think we're a big part of the reason why, you know, Michigan's so great. I mean, you know, 3 years ago, we did a lot of breakdowns. We did a lot of breakdowns on why JJ should be the quarterback and how at the least it has to be a competition the next season people are like, wow, what are you talking about? Cade's a great, and blah, 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 blah. Obviously, we know now that obviously we were right and, whatever. But I want everybody at home to think when you're going to your PayPal and you're looking at the link, I want you to think, would you be able to bask in these victories and whatnot and beating Ohio State 3 times in a row with and without the signs? Would you be able to bask in that had JJ not become the quarterback? Is it a fact? Do you think you really would with all the plays that he's had to make and all the throws downfield? We highlighted that downfield throwing was not a thing for us 3 years ago. All the downfield throws in last year's game where he had to make them to beat Ohio State and then opened up for the big runs for Donovan Edwards. And then this year, we're going to show you a few plays, and obviously Boards will get deep into it, but you've seen the difference in what this offense is capable of. Would that be the case had it not been for us exposing the ineptitude that we experienced 3 years ago? I just want you to think about that. That's all I'm saying.
I'll tell you what I think the bigger factor is. This is what I think the bigger factor is, all seriousness. Because they saw what we see.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Remember, you go into 21 season, you just got you had the 2020 season, and it's like, hey, man, you had a whole lot of fans who wanted a new coaching staff. You had members of leadership that wanted a new coaching staff. You have former players that wanted a coaching staff. But for Ward Manuel saying, I'm not listening to any of that. I'm keeping Jim Harbaugh. But for that, it'd be okay. So if you're in that mind, that frame of mind, if you're Jim Harbaugh and this coaching staff, like, hey, man, we need to play this safe. We need to be safe and, make no mistakes. And we'll bring the young fella along. So that's what they did. But I mean, there was never a question of who the more talented guy was. There was never a question of who had the most.
The question was who's going to be safer with the ball, and that actually was proven as well because the following year he had less turnovers.
So listen, I meant to start things out before DG jumped. Say, hey, you know what, DG? He was telling you about all the things you know by virtue of listening to the DG espousing the virtues of this young quarterback. You want to hear those soliloquies, like basically for 3 hours, because he needs to sleep a little bit on this bus. What am I talking about? Special bus trip from Ann Arbor to Indianapolis with Devin Gardner.
What they calling it, Sam? What they calling it?
They calling it the DG Tour, the DG Big Ten Championship Tour. That's what they're calling it over at Golden Limo. So you can ride the bus down. So this is what DG was like, man, I don't really want to stay down there, man. I just want to go and come back. Golden Limo said we could do that. We can roll you on the bus just like the Michigan football team. Rides on those Golden Limo luxury coaches. They're gonna have a DG. This tell you.
I might request we gotta get like pictures on the side of the bus. Is what I'm saying. Let's make it official.
They got a DG luxury motor coach for the Big Ten Championship. You talk about that boy that came. He's come up big time. Your own bus. The boy has his own bus.
But this bus is for the boy got his own bus. This bus is for the people, right? The people have been good, except for the people that ask bad questions. Those people, you gotta stay off the bus. But all the people, we got some good questions that come in and people who have watched the show and been so knowledgeable. I don't see why we wouldn't give back the opportunity to get up close and personal. Everybody wonder, how's it with Sam and Devin? Sam won't be there. This is just going to be Devin and you guys talking football or pretty much anything you want to talk about for most of the time. As you said, sleeping. We all want to get some sleep. 8 o'clock in the morning. I usually don't get up that early,
Yeah, so listen, you can ride the bus, the Big Ten Championship bus, with Devin Gardner. Pulls out around 8 a.m. I know they have noon arrival in Indianapolis. Plenty of things to do in Indy for you to check out, up to and including the KeyBank Countdown to Kickoff pregame show at the Slippery Noodle is just a couple of blocks away from Lucas Oil. But there are plenty of things to do downtown Indy. You can go to visitindy.com to kind of figure that out because you'll be there at noon and you'll be able to experience. It becomes, Ann Arbor South. That's what it becomes, Indianapolis. There's not going to be a whole lot of Iowa fans there. They know how it's about to go down. So, but a ton of Michigan fans. It is an absolute blast. And you can ride the bus with DG down there. And he said something about you gonna have a grease board teaching the fans some different
I'm
things.
gonna have a grease board. We're gonna go through coverages from the embryonic stages and go as far as everybody wants to go. We're gonna ask questions. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have a good time. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I like to think of myself as a very fun guy. Fun guy. I need to go buy me a tuxedo shirt because it says I'm serious, but I also like to party. Right? It's fun, and that's what it's gonna be. I'm excited for it. It's the first time doing something like this. And it's going to remind people of I used to do the football 101s in Ann Arbor. Everybody would come out and watch me break down the plays. And, that was always super fun. So this is going to be similar to that, but on wheels.
That's right. That's right. So take
Yeah.
pictures, ask questions, get autographs. DG.
Don't take a picture of me when I'm asleep, though.
Down and back. Coming back will be even more festive, right? Because it's coming off a victory and looking at the playoffs. So goldenlimo.com. All the information is there. Goldenlimo.com. There are only 35 seats on the bus. So it's first come, first serve. Get yours while you can and get it quick. Goldenlimo.com. So let's get into these plays. Michigan goes out, I should say, and beats Ohio State without Jim Harbaugh. They said, wait a minute, we had 5 bad plays. They said, oh, we had 1 bad half. They said, oh, they have the signs. None of that stuff was at play. And not only that, they took the coach away too, DG. And not only that, they had a J.J. McCarthy that was not 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And Michigan still won that game, DG.
Yeah, of course. The one thing I wonder, and I don't know, you're like on the message boards and stuff like that. I don't get on that stuff, but I want to ask you, what is the excuse now? Has there been excuses though now? Literally, everybody, they're just taking it? Because you know how they are. They want to, obviously, they have to find some reason as to why they didn't win,
Yeah, so the couple of plays they took out, they said that Roman
didn't Ohio State not have any penalties?
That I know of.
So what are we talking about?
But they said that it should have been an interception that Roman got the ball ripped away from
Which is wrong.
Yeah. They said that key third down on the drive, Michigan's last drive, where he guns it to Cornelius Johnson.
They say he pushed off.
He say he pushed off when all he was
doing. So he broke his arms off because he's being grabbed. But go ahead, moving on.
And then they said, well, did Rod Moore, was it really an interception?
Oh, here we go. Okay, we should have them all go back on the field. What do y'all think is going to happen the next play or the next play? What are you talking about? You think number 6 was driving down in the big house in the game to go score a touchdown against that defense? Is that what they think? After he got hit twice on – come on, man. What are we doing? So if those are the excuses, that means they have none. So it's good. I love it.
All right. So let's get into these plays, DG. We only have a couple, but one is one of the greatest. When I say it's one of the greatest throws I've ever seen, that's one thing. When you say that as a guy who's thrown a lot of passes and watched it from a quarterback level, for you to say this is one of the greatest throws you've ever seen, this demands we break this play down. And so, DG, here is the first play, a pass that you called one of the best you've ever seen.
One of the best I've ever seen. And I think Ohio State does a nice job of showing pressure, showing that they might be in what I call 2-man, right? So 2 high safeties taking halves of the field and then man-to-man across the board, right? And so in that instance for JJ, you have a plan of backs are turned, 2 high safeties removed. I could be a real viable option as a runner, right? And so you drop back thinking, okay, if some guy comes open, I'm fine with that. But me running is probably the best option here just because you get those guys in the hip pockets of the wide receivers with elbow over the top. It's kind of tough to throw against unless you get those outside breaking routes where they can run away because of the alignment of the defensive backs. But when the play starts, it's not that. It is man-to-man, but you're going to get one safety that kicks to the middle, right? And another safety that's in the hole, right? Kind of like a rat player. We'll call him the hole player. He's underneath. He has no true responsibility, right? He's kind of almost the spy for the quarterback, but in the pass game form, if that makes sense, right? Usually you have a spy when you want to stop the quarterback from running. Well, here's a guy a little deeper where he's looking at the quarterback's eyes, trying to read, see where he's trying to go so he can rob it. And some people call it a robber, right? A robber, a rat, a hole player, whatever you want to call it, that's his job. And so it makes it kind of difficult because when you get Roman Wilson coming across the field, you got to beat him with that throw. with your eyes and with your talent and your arm. What I love what Michigan is doing is the motion, right? Because of the motion, you create a winner in Roman Wilson. We know that running across the field, we see Tyreek Hill do it all the time. A fast guy running across the field after motioning down from the outside, he can't be dealt with, right? The corner has no chance here. He's, by alignment, already eliminated. So you don't truly have to beat him with the throw, but the ball does have to be out front so that his alignment can stay there, and he can't play a bad ball that's behind the receiver or what have you. But like I said, you have to deal with the whole player. You can let it run, and he does a nice job, man. It is not a lot of space to throw this football. This is the guy you got to contend with, and you got to beat him with your arm. Hold him with your eyes, and then throw the ball right between them. Unbelievable. Because it's so unbelievable because the linebacker's job is to stare at you, right? And so you hold them by staring at them with your eyes, knowing Roman is coming. Roman is coming. We know that Roman is coming, so I don't have to stare at Roman. I want to stare at you just to hold you. And then when JJ kind of moves to the right a little bit, he moves with him, right? So you know for a fact he's the whole player responsible for looking up JJ. And then, pause it there.
Okay, hold on.
He's the whole player. He knows that when the ball is about to be thrown, he has to look up and see who's coming. So you can see here, let it run. He has his eyes on Roman. But if you can really kind of look, there is a space that there is to throw that ball. The window is small, right? But he's a little lower while Roman is running through, right? He's running to the end zone, right? So he's got about the depth of the linebacker is not enough. And I think that JJ can get this throw in. Unbelievable. Unbelievable that he even has the courage to throw a ball like that. You can see right there, it's so close. And I talked in the beginning about windows, right? High school windows huge. You can't even see my hands outside the frame. College windows a little smaller. NFL windows here. That's here. That's a throw here. And one thing that I don't know, they probably talked about on the broadcast, Sam, it's 3rd and 10. Mm-hmm. To have the cojones, right, to make that throw, and most will say in the coverage, most quarterbacks aren't making this throw. I'm going to be completely honest and transparent. I don't think I'm making this throw. With a guy looking me up and still kind of have the confidence to drive this ball in there with not a lot of space, I can't say that I would. Even though, I'm a confident guy, I can't say that I would throw this ball in between these two defenders in this situation. But JJ, with his arm talent, he's able to do it.
So I'm going to ask Borges this from a coaching perspective. I want to ask you this from a quarterback perspective because I heard Dan Mullen break this play down, and I was confused by what he said. So he said the robber made a mistake here. So he
made a mistake at birth or throughout his preparation to be in college because he's not good enough to make this play, if that's what he's talking about. Because I think he does exactly what he should do, right? He's down underneath watching the quarterback, but he gets beat with the throw. And so a saying that a lot of offensive coaches have is there's no defense for a perfect throw. This is a perfect throw because you have to keep it out front, but you can't take it too far that it gets all the way to the whole player, right? So the credit should be given to 9, not saying that the whole player didn't do his job.
Yeah, so explain this to me. I just want you to explain the specifics of what he said. You got the robber here. JJ tries to look him off here, right? He's trying to move that guy.
And another thing, he's trying to get to a one-on-one matchup with a good receiver outside, right? So both things are happening. He's looking off the whole player, but he's also in his progression trying to get to the best matchup he thinks that he has versus the defense that's being played, a one-on-one outside opportunity. He doesn't like it, and it's not winning, and then he comes back to his next read that's coming right into his eyes. Love the design.
Right. So this dude does not move with the look, but he moves with the front out.
Yep.
Right? So now Mullen is saying if the robber just stays focused on JJ, he's in position to pick up the ball. But you said something earlier that registers with me. And isn't he supposed to what is he robbing if he's not looking for what to rob?
Exactly, right? So obviously, like I said, he is the guy looking at JJ, but when JJ starts to throw this ball, he's like, where are you throwing it? Right? Because I'm standing here. Where could you be throwing this ball? So he looks him up, and when he looks him up, the guy's just running past him. He doesn't have enough depth to play the play. So, like I said, I think he played it as good as he could have played it. The ball snuck in by this much. And when a ball sneaks in by that much, there's no defense for it. That's a perfect throw. And this is a nice effort by 10, but obviously the ball's secured and it goes over the goal line in the hands of Roman Wilson. And so people are confused. Oh, my God, it's a biological attack. We should have got the ball. I can't believe this. This is why we lost 1 touchdown, whatever. Well, that's stupid, and it doesn't make sense. But I like to think of, Ohio State fans as, maybe not the brightest people in the world, obviously, because when you watch it over and over again, right, and obviously they have every camera. It's like 45 cameras out there, right? They have every camera angle, and when you watch it from the angles they gave you, the ball does get knocked loose. And I said this on Monday Morning Quarterback, where it gets knocked loose, and that is a thing, right? It gets knocked loose, and you got to make sure. And then Roman does an outstanding job of pinning it, right? Give me this. Pinning it stiff, right? So it doesn't have to be perfectly in the perfect carriage. As long as it's under control, stiff, right, to your body, and it's not moving. Once that happens, the millisecond that it touches the white line, the play is over. That's a touchdown now, right? So the fact that, and I love the play from 10. That's an outstanding play to continue to play through the play. If he had 5 more yards, that'd be a fumble and a recovery by Ohio State. However, he doesn't have 5 more yards. The white line's there. He got over just by the hair on his chin with security, and it's a touchdown. And then you lose. So just stop making excuses and wait 300 however many days to try again in Ohio.
I'm stuck on the fact that you said Ohio State fans aren't that bright.
I learned that from you. I learned that from you. You tell me all the time, and I'm just like starting to think. Because I remember in the beginning of this, I asked you, what were the excuses? And so you always said, hey, they're not that bright. They're not that bright. They're not that bright. And they've given some evidence that maybe they aren't that bright, but I don't always jump on it. I want to give the benefit of the doubt usually. But then when you start saying stuff like that, when you've seen it replayed over and over, I'm sure they brought Dean Blandino in, the rules analyst, to explain that this is a touchdown. You hear all the experts, everybody saying it's a touchdown, the referees on the field, and then you say, that's why we lost, because that wasn't a touchdown. Okay, yeah, you're not that bright. Sorry. You're not that bright.
All right, so, I remember saying early in the game, and we said this before the game, look, they have got to be more balanced in this contest. I understand why Sharon did what he did last week, but if he got in this game and JJ went on, he has got to be committed to getting them in rhythm. And so the first 2 balls JJ threw were not great balls, but he stayed with it, got him in rhythm. So you make that great throw, and then you come back down the line, you make another tight window throw that we're going to bring up right now. This dude, he didn't throw that many balls, but the ones he threw, DG,
yeah, played really well. He played really, excluding that beginning couple throws, he played really well. And this is not as critical a down, right? Not critical of a down because it's 2nd and 5, but in the grand scheme of things, converting first downs before 3rd down is what you want to do, right? So getting the first down here is really good, but it's another tight window throw. And for Ohio State, they mixed up their coverage quite a bit. This is cover 4, right? So you got cover 4. Take a look here. You got a 4th, because the last time we saw this tight window throw, it was man with a whole player underneath, right? So it's different, right? You got to look at it differently, right? You got man, and now you got zone. You got 4th, and then you got a flat hook, curl flat guy, right? Curl flat player. So he has the curl area, but he also is responsible for the flat, right? So when he sees nobody in this flat and a guy come in, he can respond to that, right? And that's what he's going to do. And then you have the hook, the curl player, right? 35, where he's the middle of the field, right? But he can also bar over in that curl area, right? So hook and curl. Look at the window. Look at the space that we have, right? And then outside, you got a vertical. So when that guy goes vertical, it turns into man-to-man, right? When you get a vertical route on that cover 4, he's like, okay, now I'm going to stick to him, and I'm going to play him man-to-man. So those guys are eliminated because I don't know how much you love. I guess you can go back short or whatever, but the throw is here, and JJ makes it in a nice, tight window again. What I want to kind of talk about here is the what would happen if. What would happen if? What if the hook the curl player balled over too far and the window closed too much? You can't get that ball there. Well, JJ's just going to move his feet and eyes and hit Roman. Why? Because 35 vacates that hook to curl area. Now you can get your next read, right? And that's how progressions work. That's how progression passing works. So when 35 leaves, he's going to hit Roman right behind him. But because 35 doesn't get there, even though he gets there right away, another tight window throw. And that's, again, this. That's not this. That's not high school. That's not college. That's this, right? And you know you're going to have those opportunities to make those tight window throws in a game of this magnitude with players that are on the field, right? As much as we kind of joke about Ohio State and they're not tough, they're not good enough, they got some good, really good players. right? And they're not number 2 in the country for no reason. They're not always a perennial power in not only the Big Ten, but college football for no reason. They have really good football players, right? And so they're going to create these small windows, and this is close to a pro game, and JJ was able to perform on a number of different occasions, and this is one of them.
So, listen, circumstances matter too. Ohio State has just gone down.
17 up.
And it was a 12-play drive. The last 8 plays were runs. You got to have this drive. You got to steal some momentum.
And Sam, what I want to highlight too is it's hard. And I've talked to a number of coordinators this year, and they've all talked about how they need to create explosive plays. And the reason being is, as much as you love a long 15-play, 12-play, 13-play drive, it's hard. This isn't basketball with 5 guys and 1 star or 2 stars. This is a 11-man team, right, unit, trying to work in unison. And in football, if one guy doesn't do it right, the play is done. Right? 10 guys do it right, 1 guy doesn't, the play is done. So it's hard to get 11 guys over and over and over again to do what's right, to make sure you prolong drives and go get in the end zone at the end of those drives, right? And so that's why big plays are so important. So for them, when the score just gets tied up, to be able to put a drive together, play after play, conversion after conversion, and go down and score, that's extremely impressive in a high-pressure situation in the big house, the game, all the stuff going on, all the sign stuff, all those different things going into this. It's super impressive to watch.
No doubt. And he answers, they respond with a 7-play drive. And that drive also included the injury to Zach Zenner. You had that tight window throw. You had the 15-yard scramble from JJ.
Which was really nice.
I mean, and a 15-yard scramble, remember, they haven't called a design QB run for a reason.
And then what did I tell you last week? It's the game.
It's the game.
He's going to be able to do whatever he needs to do. Whatever he needs to do to make it happen. And you need to scramble on that play. He went and got it, and he looked good.
Ball player, man. I constantly have debates. That's what sports are about, debates, right? You like to create debates. One of the debates that we have is, does Michigan have enough sophistication offensively to get it done? My contention is absolutely. If you're looking for the difference between Michigan before and Michigan now, what will get them over the top? It's number 9, DG.
Yeah.
That's when teams win, the teams that have won championships, they have had that guy that it's not about the coach dialing up the play. It's about the player making the play.
Yeah, and what I've highlighted since the beginning of the season is elementary concepts with gradual level execution. And it's because of 9, right? The gradual level execution, that makes the plays look nice and complicated. Now, Sharon Moore can go back and say, all right, we're going to run the same play we just ran, except we're going to motion a guy, line this guy over here. But it's the same play, still elementary, but we can frame it in a different way for the defense. And now our quarterback can insert his graduate level execution, right? The throw we saw to Roman, that's not a fancy play, just a little quick short motion, right, versus man-to-man, and he's just running across the field, which we've seen him do all the time. Elementary. But what was the throw? You can say that play design is elementary, and it is. But the throw is in grad school. And I think he's put that on display over and over and over again in these last 3 weeks, or really 2 weeks, because he didn't throw as much against Penn State. But these last 3 weeks have been so impressive because he's been able to replicate it over and over and over again. He's had some adversity. He's been a little banged up, can't use his legs as much, and he still finds a way to get it done. So I was super impressed with the game against Ohio State. They're number 2 team in the country. They dominated the game, even though Ohio State came and they played, and maybe you can even say they're a little bit tougher, but just not tough enough. And Michigan was able to get it done.
They sure were, which sets them up for the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah.
Now, as much as I was looking forward, there was no game I was looking forward to more than Ohio State. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
But definitely was looking forward to a Big Ten championship matchup with Iowa with Cade McNamara, quarterback. There was just so many. There was the backstory was amazing, right? Because you read the Fox Sports story Very reputable. Fox. I'm giving my guy DG is a Fox guy. I'm giving him all
Mm-hmm.
kind of credit, right? Fox does great work.
Of
And
course.
so they did a story on Cade McNamara where it talked about in the piece, JJ gets on campus and he tries to seek out advice. And in the story, this is the Fox story, says that Cade ghosted him, like wasn't giving him any kind of
Of course you did.
tutelage,
Of course you did.
according to the Fox article. So that is a backdrop, right? I was like, man, when I read that,
The dude that didn't want to help you and you took him over anyway, and now he's at the team and playing against you in the championship. That's Disney stuff.
When I read that, I was like, so a lot of times I read national stories, like a lot of these stories out here right now. He's like,
And you know it's garbage.
That's some garbage. When I read that one, I was like,
you knew that was real because you got a little inside information. You know that was real. Yes.
I was like,
Like, who said something? Who said that? Right?
Like,
Usually you keep it a secret for until like later on in life, but somebody let it out the bag.
Yeah, somebody was talking.
Yeah.
And accurately.
Accurately.
And so leads up to this game. And look, I don't wish injury on any player. And unfortunate that Cade can't play in this game.
Yeah.
From a health perspective.
100%.
But from a competitive perspective, it's unfortunate too, because it would have made for a very interesting story. Because he's kind of playing it up too. He was on this podcast, this Iowa podcast. I'm gonna play it for you, DG, and then we'll have you react to him talking about helping the current quarterback, because you just did an Iowa game, right?
I did.
The current quarterback prepare for Michigan. Okay, so I'm gonna put that on the screen right now.
That's awesome. Okay, so this week, this is big. Going to the Big Ten championship. What are you doing with kind of your new assumed role, right? With rehabbing and everything. Like, how are you kind of trying to prepare Deacon without going into much like game detail, obviously, but how are you trying to prep him for kind of a big time stage?
Yeah. Well, I think this week specifically, I'm not just getting Deacon ready. I'm getting the entire team as much as I can, because I know so much about that other team.
Yeah.
That from a defensive standpoint, from an offensive standpoint, I'm just doing everything I possibly can from an entire team standpoint to just let these guys know everything that I possibly know. And, obviously with Deacon specifically, I'm able to help them out with, some schematics that they run and some things that they might try and do. But also at the same time, I've also played in this game before. So for me to also, I haven't talked to him yet about that stuff yet, because there's a process to the week too. There's, information overload at the beginning of the week. Especially these, and then, tomorrow will be kind of a slow day of practice, kind of a mental day, and his wheels will be turning a little bit, just like everyone else on the offense. But then Tuesday and Wednesday that's the workload days. So, but then once it comes Thursday and it's like the off day, that's when you start emotionally preparing for the game. And I think, once we get to that point, then I'll be able to share some of my experience with him and playing in this game specifically. But for the most part, like at the beginning of the week, I'm trying to do, I'm just trying to help him out from what he's going to see on the field, some looks, some, even if it's personnel, stuff like that. Like I'm able to, any which way I can possibly help this week, I'm doing it. So this week, it feels like I'm playing this week, but yeah, I'm excited.
So, DG, that is Cade McNamara and I want to give credit to the podcast. It is called Talking Hawks, and it was the Nebraska recap, Michigan preview with Cade McNamara. You can find that on YouTube and watch it in its entirety if you want some inside intel on Iowa as they prepare for this game. But your reaction, DG? He's gonna give is this sharing signs? Is this advanced scouting, DG? He knows the plays, he knows the defense, he knows the personnel. He's gonna tell him everything he knows.
Sam, this is I want to be as clear as I can here, and we've held a lot back as far as our breakdowns and different things like that. First, I don't love that other team thing. Firstly, a lot of what you have, a lot of a respect you have, or however much, it doesn't matter. Everything you are is because of Michigan. Everything. Now, it didn't work out for you, right? A guy was better. That's football. It's America. That's how it works. Guy was better, and it's proven that he was better for the team. And you lost your job, right? And obviously you've moved on. But now you're about to play this team. I would expect some homage. I know you're a little upset. I know it hurts. I would be a little pissed off too. I'm not gonna lie. I would be mad. But when you take a step back as a grown-up and look, what would I be had it not been for Michigan? You can answer that question at home on your own. Because at Iowa, did not perform before injury, did not perform well at all. Did not perform up to the standard in which Iowa fans and the coaches expected from a Big Ten champion quarterback, right? So everything that you are, any respect that you truly get is because of your time spent and what Michigan was allowed to do for you. And I want to make that clear, what Michigan did for you. Because we know that Michigan was a primarily running offense, right? Led by you and J.J. McCarthy, right? You were running the ball and throwing when you could. Running the ball, throwing when you could, right? It was as boring as can be. But I want to take you to when we would break down plays. And you know, he's saying that he could give insight. And I think he can give real insight on personnel and like how good is it? Is this guy as good as you think? Or maybe he's not that good, even though he's been gone for a year. And so guys have improved. So he doesn't truly know, but he can give some of that insight. But as far as helping their defense with the plays for Michigan, I don't think he can help as much. Because when we used to break down that film, as much as we showed, hey, he's missing reads here and whatever, we were extremely kind. We were extremely kind. He should thank us, actually, right? Because we made sure that we didn't go too deep into how bad he was playing as the quarterback at Michigan. We made sure of it. Because, you know, he's a guy, he's a kid, you know, as far as, you know, he's a grown-up, but he's a kid, right? And at that time, he wasn't getting paid. We're not going to kill him, but we have to do our job in breaking down what's happening on the field and where deficiencies could lie and all those different things. And so going through the film, we found so many chances for plays to be made and different things like that. And he showed an inability to read coverage, right? And an inability to have a plan and know where to go with the ball and when to go with the ball, right? And so I think that makes it difficult to help their defense because as far as I'm concerned, you didn't understand the offense as well as you kind of are leading on, right? And so I think that's another issue with the whole thing. But the main issue is have some respect. Michigan is why you have any respect. Pay some homage. You don't have to go, oh, man, I love Michigan. You don't have to go that far. Come on now. I'm not telling you to do that. But you can't say Michigan's name? Come on, man. Because once you're done, and you'll play next year, I think he's going to come back next year at Iowa, and whatever happens, you'll never recapture all the success that you were able to, you know, garner at Michigan, I don't think, right? It's not likely, in my opinion. And so I think that you should just show some respect for a program who gave you an opportunity, and you can say you earned it. I'll give you that as well. You earned an opportunity, right? Just like JJ earned his, right? So you got to respect that. He earned his opportunity as well. But you have to have some respect for the program in which you garnered a lot of respect around the country, right? Not just in Michigan and at Iowa. People respected you, and I say it past tense because of things like this. Respected you as far as a guy that played well, helped Michigan beat Ohio State for the first time in so many years. But when you do stuff like that, you take a lot of that away. Right? You can't show respect for the team that made you who you are. Come on, man. And I know I don't want to take it so far as say, oh, Michigan made him who he is as far as a man and whatever, because he works hard, I'm sure, and he has a family who he grew up with, and they've helped mold him and all those different things. But I'm talking about just the respect of a quarterback and all that. That's because of Michigan, because you didn't do it anywhere else.
Well,
right?
Listen, and because of J.J. McCarthy, I'm going to say this again. But let me put Devin Gardner in.
That's true. If I was JJ, you wouldn't have the respect around the
if I put Devin Gardner in JJ shoes, and Devin Gardner gets treated the way JJ got treated, it goes a different way.
It's a different story. First of all, it may be physical altercations, is what it might be. Let's be first. I'm just telling you, I was a young guy. I wouldn't say violent, but I wasn't taking stuff, you know what I mean, from anybody. Not to mention, I'm clearly better than you, right? There's no way you treat me like how he was being treated. You know what I mean? So that I think JJ deserves, we've already given him his flowers as how a great teammate he was and how he didn't let that affect him. He still came in and made plays and pretended to be all happy on the sideline with them and all that different stuff. But I think he should show some respect to him as well, right? He should be saying, I see what he's doing over there, and I love what he's doing, because JJ could have put it out to the world that he's not the guy you think he is, and he didn't.
Well, see, and so you have an appreciation. I'm talking about the people. You have an appreciation for the kind of player JJ is, the kind of leader he is, but have an appreciation for what kind of teammate he was when he was the backup, when he wasn't the guy, because he was always the most talented guy. Always. The moment he stepped, that was the problem. The moment he stepped on campus, he was the most talented guy, but he didn't act like that. And I'm
gonna tell you right now, when Devin Gardner stepped on in Ann Arbor, and it was Tate Forcier and it was Denard Robinson, it's because of Denard Robinson's leadership that I wasn't allowed to act like that. And I'm gonna explain that. So I was fully prepared to act like that. Because think about it, I'm the top guy. I'm coming in. Tate was up for Heisman. Denard's the fastest man in the world, and I still go there, and they're only 1 year ahead of me. Right? Talk about arrogance, right? Talk about thinking you're the stuff, right? And so when I step on campus, I'm already in defense mode. Like, I'm taking everybody's job, and I'm going to do everything I can to get it. Denard was so helpful, just such a great teammate. And, we end up becoming roommates, which was, in most people's eyes, would be goofy. Why would you roommate with the guy that you want this job, right? But he was such a great teammate to me that it forced me to be a great teammate to him, if that makes sense. It forced me to put the ego of how great I've been literally since I started playing football. It made me put it to the side because of the leadership and what he was as a teammate and as the quarterback. And and we were still competing. He wasn't even the quarterback yet. We were the quarterbacks technically. The leadership he exhibited made me put my ego aside, my arrogance, if you want to call it that, even though I'd worked hard to be so confident, right? There was a little bit of arrogance. I hadn't played at that level. It made me put that to the side. But if he would have acted like how Cade was acting, oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. No chance, right? So I give so much credit to Denard for helping me become the man I am, where when I'm a senior and they want to give Shane Morris, right, the new hotness, they want to give him a chance, even though I know he's not ready. I know he's not going to be able to perform because this fire gets hot. They aren't blocking, buddy, and you aren't the best runner in the world. But they give you a chance, supported him just the way Denard supported me, right? Gave him all whatever you need. Even though I am hot, that I'm sitting on the bench because we aren't a talented football team, right? And I'm just fighting for my life, trying to give everything I have. You give this guy an opportunity, he throws for 40 yards in the game. They're breathing down his throat. He gets injured, all these different things, because you put him in a position he wasn't prepared for. But for me, helped him at every turn as much as I could. And, it didn't work, obviously, because, he just wasn't ready to play. But that's because of Denard. If I had never had those experiences with Denard, I would have never helped him, right? I might go as far as to say I might have tried to sabotage the whole situation. You know what I mean? I don't know if I would have, but Denard, I give him so much credit. And so Cade had that opportunity, right, to be that to JJ, and he chose not to be.
And this is my point. So 5-star kid who, remember look at how significant he is now. 2020, he could have went left, quit. He could have went anywhere else. He came anyway. So he's coming in with some juice. I'm the 5-star, and I chose to stay. That guy has some clout coming in the door. And it wasn't a problem the way he was treated. And it wasn't a problem because he didn't make it one.
Even though everybody knows he's a nice guy, even though he has some fire to him in the football game. As far as personally, he's a nice guy, right? And so it hurt his feelings, right? And he might not say that, but I'm just telling you, because I've been in a position that hurt his feelings that a guy who, not necessarily that he looked up to, right? But who he's looking to for, that kind of, hey, help me, show me. I want to know. Shoots him down and treats him how he treated him, right? Now, obviously, we can go in detail, but we're not. And for him to have hurt feelings and whatever, most people with hurt feelings, you try to get some get back. He never did it. So impressive, man. So impressive. So, more of the story, dude, use Michigan's name. Don't try to do the whole, that team over there. Like, nah, don't do that. They are the reason you're even sitting at that podcast. Let's be clear.
With that, folks, that'll do it for this edition of the Monday Morning Quarterback Film Study. Remember, the Devin Gardner bus is going
That'd be fun.
to Indianapolis again.
And I might share a little more detail about what was going on in there. Now, I might.
Man.
I don't know.
Inside intel on the DG bus, brought to you by Golden Limo, heading down to Indianapolis, going down Saturday morning, coming back Saturday night after the game, noon arrival down there in Indy. Again, you can sign up. There are only 35 slots. Sign up at goldenlimo.com. Get your slot. You get the Monday morning quarterback treatment on the way down. He said he's going to bring a grease board. He's going to be answering questions. He's going to be signing autographs and taking pictures.
So, no, I'm kidding.
And then coming back, doing the same thing. So, again, you get your
Wait, we're going to sign autographs with the same people we just did? That's weird.
Yeah, hey, maybe they buy some souvenirs and they want you to sign the souvenirs.
Oh, man.
Here's the thing, folks. Hope you enjoy this film study because we're going to do it again next week, breaking down Iowa. Always want to remind you, we don't own this footage. And because we don't own the footage, we use it strictly for the entertainment, education, and edification of you, the viewer. No sponsorship, no advertising, none of that, no monetization whatsoever. But if you want to keep helping fund the film study, all you got to do is click that link right there in the comment section. It'll take you right there to help fund the film study, the PayPal page. Same thing right there in the description. You'll see the link over to the PayPal page. You also see the link to Devin Gardner's bus tour. Come on, you want to ride the bus with DG, right? You want to get on the bus with DG?
I mean, there's a lot of people that don't want to get on the bus, though, I bet.
Oh, I bet you they do.
Nah.
That lady who wants to take you to Hawaii, she wants to get on the bus with you, DG.
We might leave. We might not make it back to Detroit. We're gonna go to Hawaii from Indianapolis. How about that?
All right, folks. Hope you enjoy it. We see you next time on the next edition of the Monday Morning Quarterback Film Study with Devin Gardner. We'll see you then.